What's your reaction to what's been happening this week? Are you worried?
Yes, we are very worried as COMSA because what has been happening is unjustifiable, and really refugees and migrants in South Africa has been a target for violence attacks by South Africans, blaming it on the social and economic hardships that they're experiencing. We are aware and we deeply empathize with the socio-economic problems that South Africans are facing. But that's not a justification to really put the blame on migrants and refugees and attack them in a manner that we've seen in Thokoza.
I mean, the perception is, and you'll have heard this, the perception is that foreign nationals are taking the jobs of South Africans. Is that the case?
Thank you for that question. You see, all those allegations are unfounded, and it's very unfortunate that they are putting the blame on non-nationals, because if we look at statistics in South Africa, a country of over 57 million people, and when we look at how many migrants are in this country, we are talking about over 2 million migrants in South Africa. So you look at that proportion of migrants, like, is it really true, or is it viable that migrants are taking away from South Africa? It doesn't really make sense, and it doesn't add up. Further, I think you find that most of these migrants, the jobs that they are holding is in informal employment. They are labor migrants. They are owning their own businesses like spaza shops. They are working in domestic work, like in the households. Some are gardeners and all that kind of stuff. So how, when you hold such kind of businesses, how does that take away a job from a South African? It's really not justifiable, that claim.
I mean, this dynamic plays out around the world. You will know this, that you see it time and time and time again, that people will blame migrants for their problems. Are there differences between what happens, between what Donald Trump does and what's happening here?
There's no difference actually with what is happening in America, with what Donald Trump is trying to do and what is happening here. We've seen a lot of discrimination towards migrants. We've seen even during the COVID-19 that migrants have been discriminated towards access to a number of services. Talk about health services, talk about access even to relief services that have been given to South Africans. And that in itself, the services and discriminating, alienating the migrants from accessing such services, it's a war in itself in which they are building. A war is not just a physical war. It is the xenophobic attacks. It is the denial to services that migrants are entitled to that are being put forth, and this is unacceptable.
Muluti, we have a local government election next year, and there are at least 2 political parties I can think of off the top of my head who are going to try and make this an issue. Does that worry you?
It does worry us, because if you look previously, when we are headed towards local government elections or elections, that's when we see a lot of these tendencies starting to happen. That's when we see the xenophobic starting to happen, because you find that politicians are starting to blame their lack of delivery, delivery, and blame it on the migrants. And it's an easier target because people tend to believe that, to say it's migrants who are making us not have certain resources. We are aware that there are few resources in the community, and people are fighting for these few resources. And politicians are taking advantage of that to put the blame on non-nationals. And that is what the locals in the community want to hear, because the migrants are the weakest target, and so it's easier for the politicians to blame it on non-nationals, which is very unfortunate again on that part. And whilst I'm on that, I think politicians should be held accountable for such kind of allegations, and also because such statements, when you say it's the non-nationals who are burdening the health system, it's non-nationals who are causing you not to have jobs, it's fueling such xenophobic attacks. I think certain statements that are passed by people in leadership, they should be held so that such things are avoided.
Muluti Phiri, thank you, from the Consortium for Refugees and Migrants in South Africa.